enjoying it more than Stephen A. Smith.
Go New York, go New York. Go New York, go New York. Go New York, go New York.
Hey, check on Stephen A. this morning.
Okay, so it's typically understated Stephen A. Smith in his reaction there. And so we've been on this game so much of the Big Perky, all right?
No, man, look, Stephen A. know he need to stop. What? He was the same one. He just said the Celtics was going to win at 5. He was nervous. He was nervous, more nervous than a criminal in church. And now all of a sudden he's sitting up here talking about no, go New York, go New York, go.
I seen you checking Perk. I seen that segment. You're right.
Look,
You're right.
The bottom line of it is this. So we've come all this time into the show today, and we've talked a great deal about the Celtics and how they have fallen apart in these 2 games. And the reality is that is the storyline here, because you cannot come from 20 points behind without help. You can't do that all by yourself. You need the team in front of you to let you back in the game, and the Celtics have done that both times. But we've also come 32 minutes into the show without saying what needs to be said, and we'll say it now. The Knicks are a much better team than people were giving them credit for being before this series began. The tone of the conversation leading into this series was like the Celtics were a 1 seed and the Knicks were a 16. The difference in the NCAA tournament is those teams genuinely don't belong on the same floor as the team they're playing with. Every once in a while, something ridiculous happens and they win, but it should never happen. This was not the case. The Knicks were a team that won 50 games this regular season. They're a good NBA team. They're playing a better team. The Celtics are the better team, and they still may win the series. But the Knicks have taken both of these 2 games, and I think, Monica, I get a sense that you have felt all along, and I'll give you the chance to start it, that not enough credit has been given to them in the conversation.
I do feel that way, Greeny, and particularly when you look at what's happening in clutch time, right? Jalen Brunson alone has 14 clutch points. The Celtics as a team have 12. And so there is a comfort. Yesterday going into the game, I really wondered about what clutch looked like. Now, the Celtics have played 36 clutch games. They are 24-11 in that time frame. The Knicks actually during the season played 31, but as we saw earlier today, have had 6 in the postseason. It's hard to explain, but coming into the postseason, the Knicks had more room to grow. During the regular season, they only had, I believe it was 6 games that they had their entire roster available top to bottom in terms of having, go down the line, Bridges, Robinson, Brunson, right? So you really didn't have a chance to see the promise at all, except in that last game versus Boston that went into overtime. And so for me, they've just grown and gotten better. And like Josh Hart said, they got the most
pickup. I'm watching Mikal Bridges and Deuce McBride. They getting out in the open floor. They getting wide open threes before the Celtics are able to get their defense set. I'm watching Tom Thibodeau say, okay, Joe Mazzulla, you want to go to a Hacker Mitchell? I'm still going to leave him out there on the floor with Karl Anthony Towns. And I'm gonna outcoach you because I'm gonna allow you to keep hacking Mitchell until we get into the bonus early in the 4th quarter, and then I'm going to sub him out. He's out coaching him right now. And then here's another thing. A 20-point lead is not safe in today's game. I wish people quit it's not. It's nothing in today's game in 2025. It is all the credit to the Knicks. And one guy I got to give a lot of props to, Josh Hart, the Swiss Army knife. He will cut you everywhere but loose. Does every single thing that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. The cutting off the basketball, the offensive rebounds. And can we show some love to the big cat? Where we at, 21-17? Only 1 3-point shot attempt last night? A monster in the paint? The Knicks are doing what they're supposed to do. They're getting dirty and getting it in the trenches while the Celtics are looking soft and looking cute. That's it. That's what it is.
Listen, Josh Hart last night goes 3 of 6 from the 3-point line. Derek White, three-point shooter, shot 265 threes this year for the Celtics, 3 of 11. And so to Wendy's point in terms of why you're confused, I get it. I get it. Because the Knicks are doing everything that you would scout and want them to do, except it's backfiring on the Celtics. But that is one of the things, Greeny, that you just can't quantify statistically, the way that this group is playing together and the confidence they have.
There is another thing that is going on here that I think is, it comes through the television. And so Monica and Wendy, you guys being in the building, I'm sure you feel it. When there were reasons why Phil Jackson, when he was coaching the Bulls, used to always say he greatly preferred playing on the road. And I think you're feeling it, the energy in the building. When the game started yesterday, every three the Celtics missed, you could hear the crowd groaning. And then in the fourth quarter, you could feel through the again, I'm sitting in my house. I can feel it on the television window. You're in the building. The Celtic fans can feel it happening again, and that energy has to trickle down on some level to the players one way or another.
When it got to be a 20-point lead, all of these fans are aware that all of these top seeds are blowing 20-point leads. The jokes, you could hear them in the stands. You could hear them on press row. Oh my gosh, that the higher seeds got a 20-point lead at home. It's curtains. You just give the game to the Knicks. But it was nervous laughter. And again, as they were getting walked down, I felt the Celtics got tighter. Typically, the home team thrives having a lead. Typically, the team that falls way down on the road sort of fades. Nothing conventionally is happening in this series.
14 minutes, or the lead was 14. I think it was about 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. My terrific radio partner, Tyler Murray, he says it on our call. You can feel the anxiousness in this building. And it unfolded in exactly that. And I think to answer the question on how they're coming back, when they're closing the gap on these runs, Greeny, there's just a relentlessness that either you got or you don't. Josh Hart ripping rebounds, going coast to coast, like Mikal Bridges finding his way in the middle range.
They look like a team that had more energy, and that's funny because they're the team that played all these minutes, and everybody said it's going to wear them down. They look like they built themselves up for this point of the season, and Boston Celtics looked like they had tired legs.
Yes, and perhaps that is the reason for what we'll finish this part of the conversation by saying. The reality is the Celtics are missing makeable shots in the fourth quarter. They just are. Whether that's because they're tight, whether that's because they're tired, it doesn't make any difference what the reason is. It's happening, and so the Knicks have dominated those two quarters and taken a 2-0 lead home. We haven't even gotten to the other game.
Bridges. Hell, Jalen Brunson, that time we see him slide those puppies, and we saw at the end of the play, we saw Mitchell Robinson get down in the defensive stance. But at some point, Jason Tatum got to say, I'm the best player on the floor. I cannot be guarded. He's one of the most elite scorers in the game today, and I just don't see that tenacity. I don't see that dog in him. And this is, I thought, was going to be his moment after being disrespected all summer long, that he was going to be ready to protect not only his championship, but definitely protect his home court and his crib.
And so they're down 2-0. Cindy, one more. Let's put up A23 as I give it to Wendy here for thoughts on this. Jason Tatum in clutch time in this series, in both games obviously decided in the end, so both games going to clutch time. Tatum in 23 clutch time minutes in the fourth quarter and overtimes in this series has made 2 field goals with 2 assists and 2 turnovers. Wendy, what are we seeing from a Celtic team that you described as, I don't want to say shaken up, but confused by what has happened in the first 2 games?
Yeah, it's a difficult situation for me to try to get my arms around because the Knicks seem to be comfortable being behind in the fourth quarter. That seems to be where they prefer. They like the feeling of walking the team down. And when you look at the fact that they have won 5 consecutive road games by 3 points or less, which has never happened in NBA history before. No team has done that in a whole postseason. No team's ever done that more than 2 times in a row. They've done it 5 road games in a row. They seem to be comfortable playing from behind. And that is an unusual thing for me to understand. And the Celtics seem to play tight. You would think being up 20 at home, that's when things get rolling. But they seem to tighten up. And I can't explain that. And I think a lot of people are having trouble squaring how this is happening. The results are not matching the process. I really am having a hard time figuring out where this series is going to go.
I got you, Wendy, but I will offer this too in watching these two games. And in the playoffs at large, I think when you have teams that still have room to grow by the time they hit the playoffs, something unique can happen. Based on what we've seen in these first two games, I'm wondering if we don't know the entire story when it comes to health, and I'm wondering if you've sort of seen these guys peak earlier in the season. I mean, if you think about the basketball life of a Jason Tatum, a Jaylen Brown, these guys have been in the Eastern Conference Finals the last 5 years together, and Jaylen Tatum, has one more additional run than that. So when it gets late, to Wendy's point of those guys tighten it up, they look tight, they look tired, and the Knicks, meanwhile, to me, have grown through each game in this series.
When we talk about the health, let's just be clear what we're talking about. Brown, there were the injuries, the knee is a concern, and Porzingis is a major concern.
He's only played like 25 minutes in this series so far. Missing him is a big part of what they do, but I'm telling you, I still think it all boils down to 25 for 100. Because they rely so much on
the shooting percentage from three in the two games.
When you're tired.
They rely so much on that when that's not going down, it's sort of, now we got to drive the ball. We got to do things that are not comfortable, that are different, but they always rely on burying you with threes. And when they're not going down and that's in the back of your mind, it does change the way you feel. Because now that default that you're so used to being there is not there anymore. And when they don't have that and they go 13 straight shots without making a bucket, and the other team, as you said, Monica, has a little bit of a toughness about them that they keep scratching and clawing, like that is a recipe for disaster. But let's also not forget.
Look at there are your numbers, though, Alan. Again, just to illustrate your point.
25 for 100.
They shot 25% in game one. They shot markedly fewer threes last night, for whatever it's worth, but they shot the same percentage. And we had the stat in the essay that we did yesterday. When they shoot above 30% from three-point range, regardless of the number of attempts, they're basically unbeatable. And when they shoot lower than 30%, they're very much beatable. Perk, go.
So we're not going to address the elephant in the room.
What's the elephant?
I'm gonna say the quiet thing. I'm gonna say the quiet thing out loud, or ask the question, right? What the hell is going on with Kristaps Porzingis? Like, what is this mystery illness that no one knows about, right? This has been lingering since March. Like, what is going on? The NBA don't know. Like, nobody knows what's going on with him. And it's concerning because, like, he's on the floor. Is it contagious? Is it not? Is it, like, what's happening? We need some answers here.
So,
like, you,
Wendy, what do we know?
Keep saying, oh, he's out.
I spoke to him last night. He just described what happened to him in the last few days as a big crash. He said he was managing what he was dealing with relatively well, and he's had this crash, and he feels it from a fatigue standpoint. That's why they